and everything.
At 1:14 p.m. today, we were dispatched to 2601 Evans Street, which is South Carolina Vocational Rehab, in reference to a subject who had entered the building armed with a weapon. There were 5 employees there at the time. He took all 5 hostages at that time, locking the door. Officers arrived on the scene. One shot had already been fired by the subject inside of the building. Once the officers got here, 2 of the employees were able to get out and meet with the officer on the side of the building, leaving 3 employees and the subject inside of the building. Short time later, we got the sheriff's office on the scene, plus the rest of our officers, and we began talking with him, trying to negotiate with him. During that negotiation, 2 other employees were able to get out of the building on their own, also leaving 1 employee in there with him. We contacted South Carolina Law Enforcement Division to get their SWAT team and also negotiated here with them. Also, once they got on scene, we continued to negotiate with him until we were able to negotiate the last employee who was in there with him to come out of the building. Once she was out of the building, then SLED SWAT team, along with the Newberry County Sheriff's Office CERT team, went inside of the building, were able to take him in custody. Prior to them taking him into custody, though, he fired off an additional 4 or 5 shots inside of the building, in the roof, and through a wall. We're fortunate that nobody was injured, especially those employees who worked there. He wasn't injured also. This subject is a career criminal, actually did time for murder, only been out over probably a year and a half maybe, or something like that. We're just grateful that the public wasn't injured or anything like that. So.
Now, these 2 employees that were able to get out once you guys arrived, did he let them out, or did they?
No, they were able to get out on their own through a rear door. He did not let them out.
About what time did this start and what time did it end?
It started at 1:14 p.m. is when we were dispatched, and 2:30 is when they took him into custody.
It's not so like just how happy you guys are that I guess no one was injured.
Anytime you have something like that where somebody is armed, who is a career criminal, who goes into a building for unknown reasons and does what he does, and nobody gets injured, we're truly thankful that none of our citizens or any of those employees were injured, because he could have came out of the building after doing something and then did something in the community. That's why we wanted to actually get here as quick as we can and get this thing contained. We have a great working relationship, the sheriff's office and the police department here. We partner together and doing everything, and I'm so grateful for Sheriff Foster and his units for being here to assist us.
Any reason why the vocational center was the target of this? Was he there for treatment?
He is a client there, yes.
Did something set him off, or?
I am not aware of anything setting him off myself.
No motive at this point?
No.
And the hospital, was that placed on lockdown?
It was. The hospital was placed on lockdown, along with there's various other doctor's offices behind this building. They were placed on lockdown. The building beside, adjacent to it, we actually took everybody out of that building there. There's a daycare down the road that we actually placed on lockdown also.
Is this someone that was known to your department?
Oh, definitely. Yes.
Many run-ins with this gentleman?
Yes, ma'am. We had additional charges against him recently that were actually dropped by the solicitor's office.
What do you anticipate coming out of this charge-wise?
We have arrest warrants on him right now, and I will do a press release on all the charges once we have them finalized.
Was he known to any of the employees that were stuck in there with him?
Yes, he was known. The last hostage who was actually able to leave the building, all of them knew him, but the last hostage who left the building was actually more familiar with him, was actually helping us with negotiations on to get him out of there. I applaud her. She was very, very courageous. I applaud her very much.
Was he convicted for murder?
He was. He did time for murder. Yeah.
Do you know what he was armed with? Little box real quick. I think it died. Do you know what he was armed with?
It was a handgun.
And did he say anything during negotiations? Did he talk back to you guys?
Yeah, he was on the phone with the negotiator talking.
Did he say anything?
I'm not going to divulge what he said or anything like that, but he was in contact with the negotiators.
It sounds like this was kind of, while he had a tie to this place, seemingly random. Not a place you would think about going in and holding hostage.
This is true. That concerns us, that you would target a place that's there to help you and do this.
So, can you talk about what's still left as far as the police presence?
We have investigators with the police department that are still on scene, along with the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division's forensic team that are actually processing the crime scene.
And we see a helicopter still flying. Can you talk about why that's?
I think that's yours. That's a news helicopter.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
That's correct.
It's either WSBA or WYFF. That's one
Okay,
of
and
them.
since I was having mic issues, one more time, can you go over what happened? I'm sorry.
I'll tell you
like
what.
a brief
I'll tell you
overview.
what. We'll
Yeah.
catch you on.
We'll-
the
we'll
end.
catch you on the end.
Totally
Yeah.
fine.
Were all of the employees that were inside the only ones working at that time?
That's correct.
Okay, so it's about
Yeah.
5
There were no other clients or anything in there.
And this was his scheduled visit, or he just
No,
showed up?
he just showed up.
Okay.
Do you know what kind of care he was getting?
I'm not familiar with what kind of care he gets there.
Did he make any kind of demands or anything?
It's not uncommon for somebody that's been released from the Department of Corrections to go through
Right.
and go through vocational rehab. The point is trying to get them assimilated back into society. So it's not unusual for somebody that's been released from the Department of Corrections on probation or parole to be a client of Voc Rehab.
Did he make any kind of demands or anything like that?
No demands or anything like that. He did indicate that he wanted to talk to certain people. That was the only demand that he had.
Were there any nearby homes or any schools?
No. I mean, there's a daycare that's about 2 blocks down the road with nothing right here close to, right near the thing.
Most of this is a medical park,
yeah.
and it's about probably 10 medical park offices that are affiliated with the hospital in some way. All of them are placed on lockdown.
Well, guys, is there anything else? Anything else you guys want to add? Anything else?
No.
No, put on lockdown.
It's on lockdown.
We're sheltered in place with them. We didn't want to evacuate. We didn't want anybody else out on the street at the time. We just put them on lockdown. We drill with the hospital two or three times a year for situations like this. They have an excellent safety team there, and they knew exactly what to do.
Now, who was it that called 911?
And one of the employees that called in there.
And he had gone in, I assume, brandishing his gun and
That's
threatening
correct.
people?
Yes.
This guy's not a nice guy, y'all.
No.
He's not a nice guy.
No.
And he is
He was in an extremely hyper state. We took him to the ER for evaluation. As soon as they do a quick evaluation on him, he's going to the jail.
And just last question: do you guys know if if he can release it, any medical, mental issues that he has? Or?
Don't know at this
No,
time.
don't.
Okay. Okay.
Just know that he served time.
Not that I'm aware of. I can't
significant
really
time
say.
in prison.
Gotcha.
And he's been out maybe a little over a year.
Chief, last question for you. You said this guy's well known to both of your departments, and it sounds like it's been frustrating in the past with things out of your control, with charges being dropped with the solicitor's office. So how frustrating is it for you that someone you repeatedly dealt with has now threatened other people's lives, thankfully is now in jail?
Well, I'm frustrated, but plus prior to coming here, I was in talking with the victims, letting them know history and stuff like that. And they are certainly frustrated also, and they're really afraid that when people who have done time and came back out, everybody deserves a second chance, but when you take those second chances, they turn into third, fourth, and fifth, and you place more charges against them, and those charges are not carried through, that it concerns me, and it concerns me as somebody who's taking care of the public. So I'm very concerned about it. I mean, citizens don't deserve that.
Citizens going to ask why this is going on. This is the featured film of why it's going
That's
on
right.
right here. This is exactly why we have these problems today.